Hey, it's Tyson Sharp here, and what you're about to tune into is a live coaching example of how you can shift your marketing frustrations into more flow and definitely more fun. So let's dive in. Hello, Kim. I think
Hi, sorry, I was muted.
that's what happens, hey? I always make the joke. It's like every single time we jump on Zoom, it's like it takes everyone a few minutes to understand where the unmute button is, and then we can all get started. But
Yes,
that's okay. How are you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm great. I'm great. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to have you on here. It's awesome for you to show the openness, the vulnerability, the courage to share what you're all about, what you're going through, everything like that. One thing I know that the people here live, the people watching on the recording, we all know what it's like to be in those situations of the fears, doubts, frustrations on the entrepreneurial journey. But with that being said, everyone's unique in their own little sort of circumstance. So feel free to share. What is it that you do? What are you passionate about? What are you looking to achieve? What are you all about here?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me, Tyson. I appreciate it. I'm a life coach, and specifically, I help women leaders, typically coaches, entrepreneurs, or high achieving professionals. And really, these are women who feel the need to be responsible for everyone and everything and have difficulty sharing equal weight in their relationships. So they feel the need to be the advice giver, the caretaker, the responsible one. And this could be, in their intimate and personal relationships. It can also be in their business. It can also be, in their careers. So, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So it tends to seep into everything. Um, and so what I really help them do is learn how to express their wants and their needs and their desires, and really take up all of their rightful space and make all of the wonderful impact that they want to make, and learn how to share that equal weight. And really, as a byproduct, they end up having deepening relationships, most importantly with themselves, and more satisfying relationship with themselves, but also with the other relationships in their life. So that's a little bit about me and what I do.
Awesome. Beautiful. And let me ask you, why is this so important for you? Why do you have this calling, this pull to create a difference for these women?
Because it was my journey. Yeah, this was my journey. I feel like it really has been the journey of my life and what I personally have had to work through in my life. And it's my passion to help other women do the same, because it's something that I see, um, that's so common. And I think it robs women of life and joy and vitality and the fullness of their expression and the fullness of the impact that they're meant to create in the world. And it really keeps women lacking internal peace and constantly trying to control everything on the outside in order to gain that internal peace versus having it within themselves. And then you never have it because we can't control the things on the outside of us. So it's really being able, I personally feel like when you master this, you really master all of life, and the world is your oyster,
Yeah.
because everything falls into place from there. So I really do view it as, I mean, it's been my most important life lesson, and I know one that will be an ever deepening one for me. It's like you get one level of understanding of it and one level of mastery of it, and then there's more, and then there's more, and then there's more. And I also love that aspect of it as well.
Beautiful. Awesome. One second, I'll just adjust my lighting. Hopefully people can see me. That's awesome, because one thing that's important is that you went through this journey, and most people don't even go on the journey in the first place, for one. But not only did you go through it, but then you started to recognize and realize this is part of my calling, right? This is part of my gift because
Yeah.
I went through this, and now It's time to get out there and actually start educating and start transforming lives as a coach, so people can start benefiting and people can start reaching the results that you got, especially the internal piece from the shifts that you've made, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful. Awesome. So what can we help with? What's coming up for you on this journey when you're getting your gift out to the world? What can we help with?
Well, I mean, as I was talking to you the other day, I've been at this for really seriously for 2 years, and really for 3 years. But one of those years, I was getting my coaching certification simultaneously as I was trying to build my business for 2 to 3 years. And things just haven't been nearly as consistent as what I would like for them to be. And not only have they not been consistent, but I would say they've really burnt me out in many ways I mean, if you want me to go into this, I can, but I feel like I've literally done everything that people tell you should do, to build a business. And I have followed so many different formulas and tried so many different things. And all of it has really felt like me spinning my wheels, quite frankly, and just spending a lot of time doing things that have reaped very minimal results for the amount of work and effort that I'm putting in. So, the thing that I like to say is, like, I know that this is my life calling. I know it's my passion. I know it's what I'm here and put on this earth and planet to do. I have zero doubts about that, but it also feels really, really hard to feel like I'm spending 99% of my time doing things I don't love at all in order to get to spend 1% of my time doing the thing that I love. And so I've really been trying to figure out ways to market and sell my services that are fun for me and that feel good, because then you're going to want to do them more, obviously. So yeah, I mean, that's sort of the journey of where I am now. I'm trying to really regroup and pivot and recalibrate and figure out what things are coming with me and what things aren't, and really kind of doing a bit of a purge, I would say. So
great. We're all about purging here. That's what we're all about. But so that's beautiful. What I'm hearing is that you have this calling. This is your gift. This is something that's flowing through that you're like, no doubt, this is what I'm after. This is what I'm here for. Right. And not only that, but when you have this calling, you also have some expectations on what, if I do this, if I put all these strategies together, then I expect this particular result, right? It's like, I put in all this effort, I put out this strategy and I follow the steps that people tell me to do, and then I'm expected this result, and then I don't get that result. When you don't get that result, what do you feel?
I'm gonna say, like, I mean, I feel tired and I feel burnt out, but I would also say I would make a little bit of a tweak in what you're saying, and that I don't know if it's so much of like an expectation of like, if I give you this, you need to give me that. Like, if I do this, like, you owe me money, or whatever it may be. I don't feel that way at all. But there does reach a point, at least for me, where like, you burn out when it's not a reciprocal relationship, if that makes sense. Like, there has to be some sort of reciprocity in what I'm doing. And that doesn't have to be an exchange of money necessarily. It doesn't necessarily have to be an exchange of you, hiring me even, but engagement, reciprocal relationship, etc. I feel like without that, what am I doing? Like, I personally, at least for me, I don't enjoy being a talking head. I don't enjoy having a one-sided relationship. And to me, that's also information and feedback. if you're not getting engagement of any kind, right? It's telling you something that there needs to be some sort of a pivot or a shift or a change, right? So I guess what I'm saying is I believe there's a little bit of nuance there.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, beautiful. Now, this is a question I ask a lot that not many people expect. But what's your worst case scenario? What's your worst case scenario where if this was to happen, you would just think, man, that's the worst thing, whether it be going broke or never making it or never coaching or whatever it may be. What's the worst case scenario that goes on in your mind and body?
I think the worst case is very much knowing that this is what I'm supposed to do, and if I couldn't make it work, and by make it work, I mean specifically make this my full-time career and financially supporting me. If it's just, oh, I know that this is what I'm here for, but I am, what's the word? I'm like relegated to toiling at something I don't want to do,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay, beautiful. So when you imagine that, when you think, what if I just don't make this work? What if this never happens? What if I don't find a way to do this full time and to coach and to grow a business? What is it what emotions do you feel predominantly?
I mean, it depends on, I find that I go in really big cycles of frustration. So if I'm in a really big cycle of like I'll go in a huge cycle of frustration and then I'm fine, and I'll and then I'll go in another cycle of frustration. So if I'm in a cycle of frustration, I feel anger, I feel grief is a huge one. I feel hopeless, like giving up, sad, all of those.
Beautiful. Awesome. And here's why that's an important question, is because although we have these big dreams and desires, we also have these internal 5-year-olds who learn particular patterns and have particular beliefs. And so when you go out there and you say, if I don't make this happen, we can feel frustration. And what most people do is they go and build their business and try and succeed so they don't feel frustrated, right? They're like, oh my God, I feel frustrated or angry or guilty or sad. So I'm going to go build my business so that I don't feel this, right? And here's what will happen generally, especially if you're in a space of consciousness where you're moving you've already achieved at some level, but you're now ready to receive some of the deeper lessons. What you'll find is that instead of building your business from that place, if you try and succeed from that place, basically your internal 5-year-old will be building your business. The reason being is because you have an internal 5-year-old that says, my life needs to look like this. I need to have this amount of success, and I need to share my gift in this way in order for me to feel safe, in order for me to feel loved, in order for me to feel enough, right? So let me ask you, as a child, let's say 4 or 5 years old, what did you learn that you have to be, or what did you learn that your life has to look like in order for you to receive the love that mattered most?
None of my childhood wounds are from that age. All of mine come from around 9 and up.
Okay, great.
And that's because my sister was a drug addict, alcoholic, starting when I was 9. So really my needs and everything were very neglected because my sister was so chaotic. And of course, all the attention went to my sister fixing her and helping her. So who I needed to be a good girl that never made any trouble and who never had any big emotions or any issues or any problems, because I felt like if I did, it would be the straw that broke the camel's back at home when there was already so much chaos. So I just needed to be perfectly good and never have anything wrong and never have any needs of my own. You can see why my journey is my journey, and I do what I do. So yeah, that's who I needed to be.
Great. And this is really, really important because a lot of people can share a similar thing where they learned not to share emotion, not to show emotion, not to have problems, right? Other people had the opposite. Other people, like your sister, might have had problems and got their love by holding on to problems.
Yeah.
You got your love by not having problems and saying, I can't have any problems because if I do, it takes away that from her and I won't get love, right? And so when we're on the entrepreneurial journey and we're out there, we're growing a business and we have all these emotions come up, we get a little bit of conflict because this internal 5-year-old's coming up to be seen, and we basically try and build our business not to see this 5-year-old. And this is the way I describe it. You have an internal 5-year-old that says, I can't show emotion, or that says my life needs to look like this and I can't have problems. And if I have problems, then I won't get love. I won't feel safe, right? And this 5-year-old comes up in the form of guilt or frustration, for example. Let's pick frustration. So this 5-year-old comes up in the form of frustration. And all this 5-year-old is doing is coming up to be seen. And the reason when you feel frustration or sadness or guilt is because that pattern's ready to transcend. That pattern's actually ready to move on. That's why it's coming to your conscious awareness. I can guarantee you there's plenty of patterns that aren't coming to your conscious awareness right now that aren't ready to be seen. These patterns are. These patterns of sadness or frustration or guilt, they're ready to be seen, right? But when they come up to be seen and to be processed and a bit to be felt, most people go, oh my God, I feel this. I've got to go build my business. I've got to get different results. Because when I get different results, I won't feel this. But let me ask you, if a 5-year-old, or let's say a 9-year-old in your case, comes up to you in the park and they're lost and they don't know where their parents are and they're freaking out, would you tell that 5-year-old or that 9-year-old, go away until you feel better? And it's wrong you're feeling this way. You need to be fixed, right? Would you say, oh my God, let's change your life like this so then you don't have to feel sad? Or would you just be there for that child no matter what? Just allow them to give themselves permission to feel whatever they want to feel. Right?
Yeah, of course, the latter.
But most people are doing the former. Most people are saying their internal frustrations coming up and they're going, oh my God, it's wrong I'm feeling this way. I can't feel this way. I need to be fixed, right? Something needs to happen. Therefore, the 5-year-old never feels seen, never feels heard, never feels understood or loved. And we can push that 5-year-old down as much as we want, but it will continue to come up until we learn the lessons we're meant to learn, whether it be in your business or in your health or in your spirituality or with your relationships. This 5-year-old will always come up until until you actually see, hear, feel, love this side of you unconditionally. So that's what we can do right now. When you have this frustration come up, which one would you be able to feel more right now? Would it be the frustration, the fear, the guilt, the sadness, the anger? What would be
the frustration?
Frustration. Beautiful. Cool. So if you imagine your business falling apart, never working out, never get to do this full time, and you feel this frustration, where in your body do you feel it? Is it your head, your shoulders, chest, stomach, legs? Where in your body do you physically feel it?
It's normally always my solar plexus.
Solar plexus. Okay, great. So if you were to breathe right now and just relax and feel this frustration in your solar plexus. And when you breathe it in, I want you to just continue to focus on the physical sensations. And while you do this, you might want to exaggerate it a little bit, exaggerate the feeling so you can describe it to me. But what is it that you feel? Does it feel heavy, empty? Does it feel hot? Does it feel jagged? Is it pulsating and moving? If you can describe it to me, what is it that you physically feel?
It feels like tightness, clenching.
Tightness. Okay. So as you breathe with that, allow the tightness to be there. Allow the clenching to be there. And just hold a loving, safe space for it. And welcome it in and allow it fully. And while you do that, I want you to almost imagine this 9-year-old, sitting on your lap or sitting beside you. And this 9-year-old just wanting to be seen. This 9-year-old just wanting to be heard, wanting to be understood, wanting to be loved. And while you do that, I'll also describe that when you welcome in this feeling, when you welcome in this tightness or this tension or this heaviness or whatever you feel, and you allow it to be there, you've actually opened up a loving, safe space already for it to come in, right? Or else it wouldn't come up. The beautiful thing is you've done a lot of the deep inner work, whether it be through your coaching or through other practices, that have opened up a loving, safe space enough for this 5-year-old or 9-year-old to come to your conscious awareness. And it's doing so in the form of frustration. And so while you feel this, you may also feel a level of safety around it. You may also feel a level of safety that you can hold for this frustration. And the reason being is because if you can describe it to me, that means you're not the frustration, right? If you can describe it to me and say it's in my solar plexus and it's like this heaviness or this clenching and it feels tight, then you're not the frustration. You're the one observing the frustration. You're the one observing these physical sensations, right? So the more you breathe it in and welcome in this physical vibration, allow it to be there and hold a loving, safe space for it. And recognize that the more you feel it, the more you're holding a loving, safe space for this 9-year-old. Now, let me ask you, what is this 9-year-old saying? It won't be saying, go make 1 million Instagram followers or go make $10 million. What is the core message for this 9-year-old?
Let me close my eyes and listen a minute.
Go for it.
I just heard immediately, I don't want to have to earn it anymore.
Earn what?
Love, approval.
Awesome. What does the 9-year-old want instead?
Just to be approved of and loved and accepted just as she is.
Yeah. And can you do that? Can you love this 9-year-old even when she's freaking out, even when she feels frustrated, even when there's doubt or when there's anger? Can you feel this in your body and just love it unconditionally no matter what?
Mm-hmm.
What does that feel like?
Just feels like a softening.
Beautiful. So here's the thing, you can feel this softening and also feel a little bit of the frustration, and you can actually hold a loving, safe space for all of it. You can feel this level of safety. You can invite everything in. You can observe the frustration, the softening of it, the safety, the love that you have for this 9-year-old. You can hold a space for all of it, right? What does that feel like?
Spacious.
Because you're starting to realize that who and what we are. Who and what we are is the space. We're not the frustration. We're not the 9-year-old. We're not even this love. We're the space that holds it all.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's possible? What would you feel if you were to welcome all of this in on your entrepreneurial journey, no matter what happens externally in your circumstances or results? If you were to welcome in and love all the 5-year-olds and 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds and 15-year-olds, whatever patterns you've learned, if you can welcome in every emotion and hold a loving, safe space for any emotion that comes up, and hold a loving, safe space for the sides of you that can fail, the sides of you that can make mistakes, the sides of you that can have problems, the sides of you that can go broke. If you can love all those sides of you, what would you feel?
Just okay, I think.
How big of a shift is that compared to what most people are doing, trying to build their business to feel enough? But if you can feel okay and enough and loved, no matter what happens, what are your clients? What are your audience? What are your prospects? What are they going to feel from you? What energy are they going to get from you?
Just love, I think. Just love and service, giving.
Yeah, totally. They're going to feel that you want to give, not for what you can get in return, but because it's who and what you are. And love, I believe, is like an active emotion where when you give out love, you're going to attract those who are aligned for you and repel those who aren't. This is what I started finding. When I started going to my spiritual journey, I started meditating 2 hours a day and I started doing all these crazy things. I started to attract the kinds of people who are aligned with that, who are aligned with me, who are energetically aligned with my message, and it repelled other people. And I can just be in my zone of genius and just give from my heart, knowing that that's who and what I am. And you can think about what would come across in not only in terms of your content, in terms of videos or posts or blogs or whatever you're putting out there, but also in terms of creativity and resourcefulness for growing the business. When you're okay no matter what, when you feel just as loved and just as safe and just as protected no matter what happens externally, you can think of the amount of creativity and flow and alignment and resourcefulness that you bring into your business. And people can feel that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What would be possible then?
I hesitate to say, becoming fully booked, because we're trying to make it divorce from results. But yeah, just like you were saying, attracting really aligned clients, and I think just having fun in the process along the way, and doing things from a true heart of service and enjoying it. And yeah.
Who wants to have fun and enjoy it? Jesus, no one, hey?
Yeah.
Awesome. Now here's the question. What do you feel now internally? What are you feeling in terms of vibrations or emotions that are coming up?
I still feel a little bit of that tightness in my solar plexus, but it's less. And I feel good. I feel content and calm.
Beautiful. And here's the beauty of it. With the tightness in your chest, it's not your job to move it on anyway. A lot of people feel like, oh, it's my job to move this on. I need to transcend this. It's not that at all. It's like, it's your job to accept and allow and feel without judgment, without resistance. And it moves on in its own time. And it moves on when you learn the lessons you're meant to learn from it. Right? There are some deep lessons here. Once you love the side of you that can make mistakes, and love the side of you that can fail, love the side of you that can have some goddamn problems, what you start to feel is a deeper level of compassion or creativity or flow or alignment. You develop these deeper gifts that they're here to give you, right? These are the deeper gifts that you wouldn't be receiving if you go and build your business so that you don't feel it.
Yeah.
But when you sit here and feel it, and you're okay with feeling this tightness in your chest, I was feeling like I would wake up some days and have this, what I describe as just uncertainty in my stomach. It was this heaviness, this uncertainty in my stomach. And I wake up and the immediate thing I tell myself is, awesome. There's something to be seen here. There's something to be seen here that I haven't been able to love unconditionally yet, and that I'm ready to learn to love unconditionally. And on the other side, when it transcends in its own time, could be 3 minutes, could be 30 minutes, could be 3 days, could be 3 years. Who cares? That's not the point. But the more I feel it, the more I just love this side of me, and the more I accept and welcome in everything, the more it transcends, and then I develop this deeper gift. And that's why I'm able to do this for so many people, is because I do it so often for myself. All right. And you can think of this too. This is exactly what your clients are going through. How often would you think your clients are feeling this heaviness or this contraction, right? This clenching in their solar plexus.
Yep.
And the more you love this side, here's what's even more crazy. If you were to judge this side of you, you'll be judging that side of them, right? And when you open up a loving, safe space unconditionally for this side of you, unconsciously at least, you'll be loving that side of them unconditionally as well. And you'll just be able to hold a loving, safe space for them to freak out and feel whatever they want to feel. And you just remain calm, in peace, and in love. And you'll just be that space of just transformation for them because you've done it for yourself.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. I agree.
Beautiful. So from this feeling, from this softening, from this place of just allowing that to be there and just wanting to get out and give, what feels most aligned for you? What action feels scary but exciting? What feels the most exciting for you?
As far as what to do going forward, well, I think I told you this, but I really feel like I'm feeling pulled to shift away from doing so much stuff on social media. I just feel burnt out by it. So I'm meeting up with some people and looking at just in-person connections and being able to pursue what I'm passionate about outside of spending lots of time on screens. So, and then I also have been thinking about potentially doing some interviews of other people, just because I enjoy having conversations with other business owners, and I think it would be useful for my audience as well. And it's a way for me to do something that feels fun for me and would be valuable for them. So that's what I'm feeling pulled to.
Beautiful. And from what I've learned in growing the serving circle and plenty of places is that you can release content and have fun doing it, right? You can grow your business and feel completely aligned, completely enjoying it, completely fun with all of the excitement, the freaking out, the fears, the doubts, everything coming up, because that's how we expand, right? That's how we expand. But when you release it now, people aren't going to feel this, I'm putting this out there, but you better give something back, right? They won't feel that exchange. They'll feel your heart, and you won't need you won't need anything from them. You'll just stick to your zone of genius. You'll just stick to your flow. And what will come will be a byproduct of just what you put out to the world without expectation, because you're okay no matter what.
Yeah.
What will that be like?
It would be nice. Yeah.
Beautiful. So you wanting to do interviews, is this on a podcast or just as Facebook Lives? What are these interviews about that excite you?
I am all about doing things as simply as possible without getting stuck in the weeds. So I was just thinking of doing like Instagram TV instead of going through creating a whole podcast. Maybe further down the road in my business, that would feel good. But right now, just Instagram TV or Instagram Lives rather, that I end up saving to my Instagram TV and doing it that way. Yeah.
Cool. Beautiful. And so when you're doing these interviews, not only will it be fun for you, but you can talk all about, you can not only learn from it, this is what I'm doing with my podcast, but you can learn so much from the interviews. But then people get to learn more about you. People get to collaborate. There's so much flow in there with just connecting with people and finding ways of collaborating together. But think of how much fun you can do this. Think of when you reach out to someone wanting to be on an interview and you just have this compassion, you have this excitement for it. You know, they're going to feel that excitement. They're going to feel the energy that you have just because you truly look forward to doing it. And that's going to draw them in, because people want that energy for themselves. The unconditional love you have for yourself, people want that for themselves, right? And people will be drawn into your energy of your calmness, of your confidence, of your certainty that you're going to be okay no matter what, right? And they will want more of that. And that's what's beautiful. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
when are you going to reach out to these people to organize some interviews?
Well, it's a holiday here in the States tomorrow. It's Thanksgiving, so I'm planning on taking the rest of the week off, maybe at some point next week or somewhere around then.
Beautiful. What are you thankful for?
I'm most thankful for my husband, who you know. Yeah.
I do.
Many things, but most thankful for him.
Okay, cool. Beautiful. Yeah. I'll give him a big hug for me, okay?
I will. Thank you.
Awesome. Anything else coming up for you that you want to talk about? Anything that you want to share? Any questions you have?
Yeah, I just want to share and open up. You were talking about how patterns, you know, only reveal themselves when they're ready to transcend, when we're ready to transmute them. I just realized the hugest pattern that I think is underneath all my patterns this week. And I got so, you know, I've been in therapy for like 20 plus years. And then, you know, of course I went through coach training. I do all my inner work, like, you know, so much. So really when somebody's talking about like identifying a pattern, I never really have these moments where I'm super surprised anymore. I'm always like, yes, I know, you know. Yeah. But this one I was surprised, which was really exciting. I got excited about it, which tells you something about like only coaches get excited about this stuff, right? But I got excited about it, and I had that same reaction of like, I was like, oh, good, this means that it's ready to go, you know? Yeah. But anyway, the pattern, just to put it here, is that because in my childhood, I was literally in a situation that was beyond my control. And that was a very real thing that, you know, as an adult, obviously we have control, and a lot of that ends up being in our mind, unless we're in an abusive situation or something like that. But that's not what I'm talking about, you know. And in the situation in my childhood, it was literally beyond my control. And I think I did so many things to try to change it, but it never worked because I was a child that didn't have control. And so now this pattern is like, I'm going to struggle really hard, but nothing externally is going to change. And it's almost like this weird subconscious thing that I haven't really fully put words around, that I'm creating that reality again for myself of me not having the power to change my external circumstances. Because obviously subconsciously that feels like my normal, and that feels safe to be like, oh, well, what I want isn't really going to happen, and I have to struggle so hard for it. And I'll stop there, but I just thought it was very insanely interesting.
Yeah, totally. Because that's what, like a lot of people, that's what might feel familiar.
Right.
That's what might feel, it might feel more safe. Because when I ask someone, I'm like, what would happen if you just had all this abundance flowed to you? Like if you had, you know, 10, 15, 20 grand month and you hardly did anything and it just came to you through crazy synchronicity, what would you feel? They were like, I feel like I don't deserve it, right? I feel like I needed to do some hard work for it. And so therefore there's a pattern that says there might be a barrier to accepting, right? Mm-hmm. And just welcoming in the abundance. And why is that? Because it feels more familiar. It feels more familiar and safe to hard work and hustle for something, even if I don't get that thing, right? Because that's a pattern that says,
exactly. Yeah.
Because if I'm accepting things and they're just flowing to me, it's a little bit outside my control and a little bit freaks me out, right? So it's too uncertain. Although I'm getting exactly what my mind thinks it needs and what I want, and what my heart's guiding me towards, at some level, I'm feeling like I don't deserve it and it's more uncertain. So I'd rather stay in certainty, not get that thing that I want, and still stay in the hard work, right? Tick off all the things on the to-do list.
Yep.
Awesome. Congrats on the insight.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
That's cool. That's so cool. So what are you feeling now? What's going on internally? What are you feeling?
I just feel good, neutral.
Perfect. See what flows through from that place, from just being neutral, from flow, from being, being okay no matter what. See what ideas flow through there, and see the pattern of getting a high level idea, getting some insight, getting some high level guidance, following that guidance, and then loving the internal 9-year-olds that freak out along the way. That's the journey. That really is the journey. It's just like when you take those leaps that your heart's leading you towards, it really is just the opportunity for you to love more of you, more sides of you that you haven't had to love unconditionally yet, sides of you that are ready to come out and transcend that you have no clue about. And so taking those leaps, whether it be starting this Instagram TV interviews, whether it be launching a new program, launching a new product, getting 10, 15 new clients, maybe, and all these 5-year-olds, 9-year-olds freak out, loving all of those, and then just repeating the process.
Yeah.
Right. Excited?
Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. So let me know how you go with those interviews, okay?
Will do. Thank you, Tyson. Appreciate it.
No problem. There'll be plenty of people in the serving circle that will take you out for interviews as well. So feel free to put out a post and invite some people, because there's a lot of professionals in there who love doing interviews and love that type of collaboration.
It's a great idea. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for jumping on.
Sure.